What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Shot of Sports podcast. Grab a drink, a snack. This is your weekly dose of sports where we'll break down and do a deep dive of the world of sports. Whether you're a casual fan, a diehard, we're here to bring you the latest, the best analysis, and the hottest takes. Subscribe, share, and even comment. We appreciate all the feedback. Smash the like button for us and tap the notification bell on the right so you can be notified whenever we drop, so you won't miss one. Today we have on the show Chris Spittner. So how was your weekend? Go ahead, Chris. How was your weekend? All right, we'll get Chris back in a second. My weekend was all right. Um, didn't really do much. Um, what did I do this weekend? Pretty much stayed in. We yeah. So we'll just wait for Chris to come back on in a second. He said his audio wasn't working, so he had some technical difficulties. But as we wait, I'll say that Cubs Brewers game is going to be something. It's going to be something to see for sure. They lost last night 8-4, which actually hurt a lot. But um,
Yeah, sorry about that, Jalen. My audio on my laptop wasn't working. What were we? You were talking about the Brewers game.
I was saying, how was your weekend to start before we get to our first topic?
I mean, it was good. Went to the home run derby, the alumni home run derby on Friday. Like I said on Thursday that we were going to do. The Brewers didn't win, but the derby was a lot of fun, and it was really hot this weekend in Wisconsin, really muggy. But other than that, it was good.
Awesome, awesome. I was just saying that I didn't really do much this weekend. It's like 90 degrees all the time here, um, and I mean, I love that it's not humidity out for us, but it's still hot, even though it is like 98 degrees. So we'll jump into our first topic here, which is the Cubs and Brewers series and Rhino passes. So first off, before we get into that, we'll start with the Chicago Cubs and Brewers. This was one of the biggest series of the year so far because you have two teams in first place battling it out, and they have the two of the best records in all of baseball, which coming into yesterday. So the power rankings had dropped, and this is what it had looked like. Um, so you see the Cubs there first, and then they had the Blue Jays in second, the Mets third, Dodgers fourth, Phillies fifth, and the Brewers sixth. You have the Astros seventh, the Tigers eighth, and Seattle Mariners ninth, followed along by the New York Yankees at 10. So this was MLB.com's list, which I can say that a lot of people don't agree with, and I would say that I probably don't agree with either because um, I don't think the Brewers are the sixth best team in the league. They are at least top three, in my opinion. I can see why they put the Cubs there because of how explosive their offense is and how they've played the past few weeks, even the whole year. You could tell why the Blue Jays were at number two because they found some resurgence and had now the best record in baseball. Um, but they dropped the Tigers all the way down. They were number one last week, and they dropped them all the way to eight. And the Dodgers are still number four over the Brewers, in which the Brewers had just swept the Dodgers. So this list is pretty flawed, in my opinion.
Yeah, there's definitely some issues with this when I look at it from that surface level. The thing about power rankings is they're not necessarily ranking the best teams per se, they're ranking the hottest ones. So I can see why the Brewers would be six because the national media is not very high on Milwaukee most of the time. And they don't rank us very highly unless we're on an 11 game win streak, which ESPN had us at one. But I think having Toronto in the one after how good they've played would
Yeah.
have been the right decision. I don't think the Cubs deserve to be at 1. They dropped a game to the White Sox. They rebounded and won the second 2, but the Blue Jays have been red hot. So have the Mets as of late as well. So I think you can make an argument that those could be the top 2. But yeah, like you said, the Dodgers being there is a little odd to me, considering the fact that the Brewers, like Jalen said in the comments, swept the Dodgers 2 times in a row, once before the All-Star break and once directly after the All-Star break. I think sometimes they put these rankings out where they purposely get a couple teams wrong almost on purpose just to drive up engagement, because they know people like Brewers fans, for example, are going to eat this up, tear it apart, and they're gonna give them the engagement that they want.
Then you're gonna have Dodgers haters as well that don't like the Dodgers at all, and they're gonna.
It's like when Bleacher Report puts out those terrible like top 10 or top 100 rankings of each position, and everything's just completely wrong, or the way too early power rankings where no matter how bad the Lakers were during the season, they're still in like the top 14 or whatever.
Yeah, this was just MLB.com's list. We do have MLB on Fox's list, who I can actually really agree with, who actually I think have it correctly, which I still don't really, kind of agree with number 6. But the MLB on Fox, Rowan Cavnar's MLB power rankings are: he has the Blue Jays at 1, Cubs 2, Brewers 3, Mets 4, Phillies 5, Dodgers 6, which I don't agree with. The Tigers 7th, Astros 8th, Yankees 9, and the Red Sox 10th. The Red Sox.
Comes down to that engagement again, like I said. I don't really think there's too much of an issue with the top 5 here. The Blue Jays, Cubs, and Brewers, and even the Mets and Phillies, they're not far off that top record in baseball at all. Now, the Dodgers responded well after the Brewers swept them twice, so I can understand why they'd still have them in the top 10. And they're a lot more reluctant to move teams like the Dodgers or, say, the Yankees, who haven't been playing well as of late, out of the top 10. They're going to keep them there just because they need that engagement. But the Tigers have not been playing well as of late either. Right. They've really struggled. They're in a cold spell. A lot of their guys are struggling through the month of July. They had the top record in the sport for a while, but they fell off as well.
So Cavnar last week, he had the Cubs at number 1, which they dropped a place to number 2. And then he had the Blue Jays at 4 and put them in. They went up 3 spots, which is all right to me. But if you're going to drop the Tigers that far from how bad they've played, you got to drop the Dodgers below the Tigers at least, because of how the Tigers have looked.
But the Dodgers record-wise are better than the Tigers by about a game. So from that vantage point, the Tigers are ice cold right now, and the Dodgers were ice cold, but they're starting to rebound, and they won again last night.
Yeah. So we'll talk about this Brewers series here. We had, Jacob Misiorowski. He started off very bad, very, 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 very shaky, in which he had to at the first inning, he gave up, I think it was a little single or a strikeout first. He struck out Pete Crow-Armstrong. The bases were loaded with nobody out. He struck out Pete Crow. I think it was either 1 out or no outs. And the ball went to the backstop. It got past the catcher, and that's 1 run. Okay, fine. That's 1-0. But Ian Happ comes up, I think a few batters later. Yeah, then because Carson Kelly had struck out. So then Ian Happ comes up a few batters later, hits a little tapper back to the mound.
I thought that was Seiya.
No, that was Ian Happ that hit that. Okay. Oh, wait, it was Seiya. But,
Yeah, because they collided into each other when Miz was trying to go retrieve the ball.
Okay, so I'm guessing that. Let me just go look at the box score real quick, because
I think Seiya was 5th, and then Kelly and Happ were after that, but I could be wrong. Bottom line, though.
Yeah. So Seiya got on base before that, where they collided and things like that, because that was just a little bunt. That was like a little dribbler. But all in all, Ian Happ had tapped it back to the mound, to which Misiorowski picked it up and threw it into the outfield for them to get 2 more runs. That's where that came from.
Oh yeah, right.
So, so he came up. They were up 3-0, and then at first, the Matthew Boyd was doing all right. I mean, he just didn't really look sharp to me for when I had seen him. It was he was missing pitches. He was missing his spot, his locations. Even though he was getting weak contact to begin the game, and people were like, "Oh my goodness, he's finding a way through it. He's getting through it." He just didn't look sharp.
His
Um,
fastball was all over the place last night. He walked the first two Brewers batters and then got lucky. Contreras hit it right to third for a double play, but he definitely, even in the first two innings, escaped.
yeah, he escaped the first two innings unscathed, which he shouldn't have, but he got through it. But then that's when the third inning came, and everything went haywire right all after that. It Frelick had started. He got on base, and then Yelich comes up two batters later and hits a double on a line drive to Tucker. Isaac Collins singles after that, drives in Yelich and Contreras on a base hit. He was fired up, and then Terrain comes up and hits a sacrifice, and Vaughn scores. And then it was after that, it was just all Brewers, in which they had like three homers right after that. The bottom of the fifth, they had Andrew Vaughn hit one, Sal Frelick hit one the next inning, and then the next half inning, Yelich hit one. So they went fifth, bottom of the fifth, bottom of the sixth, bottom of the seventh, but all homers by the Brewers, and it just takes over the cake where they were up 8-4, and that was about it. The Cubs tried to fight back in the bottom of the sixth to where they um, had came within two, but once again, they had someone on base. Yelich comes up and puts it out. So I mean, we all knew it was going to be a tough. We all knew this was going to be a great series. This was going to be a fantastic series. I'm excited to see what happens tonight. Um, you got two mid-level pitchers throwing tonight, so it ain't going to be as all-star studded, but it's still going to be a great day. It's still going to be a great game. It's still going to be a great series. Still going to be, you're still going to be fighting for first place. Right now, I think the series is tied 3-3, and whoever wins tonight covers the tiebreaker for now until tomorrow. But the Cubs win tonight, they'll be right back in first place because they will be up 4-3. So it'd be something to see for sure. I mean, what do you expect for tonight?
I mean, the most discouraging thing I think if you're a Brewers fan is that they used all 8 pitchers in the pen last night. They
Ah,
went through everybody. I mean, McGill only threw 3 pitches, but they still had to warm him up. He had to get ready. He had to go out there and he had to clean up what Craig Yoho left him, which was not great. You can't be throwing walks like that in the ninth inning when you're up 4 because with this Cubs offense, anything can happen. He just got lucky that McGill came in and cleaned up his mess pretty quick. But it's definitely going to be different tonight. Quinn Priester versus Colin Ray, like you said, two of the mid-level pitchers in each rotation. I think Priester has been a little bit better than Ray has
yeah.
this year, especially after his shaky start. He had a couple of rough outings to begin the year, but the Brewers definitely have the edge in starting pitching, but the Cubs have Shota on the mound tomorrow. So if they can steal it tonight, Shota will probably be able to get it done for them tomorrow. Freddie Peralta's on the mound for the Brewers as well. So it'll be another great pitching matchup.
Yep.
But it's not entirely out of the realm of possibility that the Cubs lead this series with a one game lead in the division as well. Their offense was uncharacteristically cold last night. I know some of their guys at the top of the lineup, Kyle Tucker, Seiya, and Michael Busch have kind of been slumping as of late, but they were so hot to begin the year. And even through June, early July, they were really hot. And ever since then, it's kind of had to been the bottom of the order. Matt Shaw has been helping out with the Cubs a lot as of late. His average went all the way up from 200 to around 225, 230, somewhere in there. PCA has been pretty consistent, although he wasn't very good offensively speaking last night. Took a hit away from Churio in the 8th. That would have extended his hitting streak. But yeah, it should be a really good one tonight. It's tough to say who's going to win just because I don't know how Priester's going to look on the mound tonight against a really good offense. He did shut down the Dodgers, but yeah, interesting comment right there. Bellinger's been playing really well for the Yankees as well.
You know, I've been saying this all season long. I've been saying this since they made that trade. You're going to regret it. Cubs are going to regret it because what Bellinger is doing right now, right? He's got about 18, 20 bombs right now, right? How many bombs does Matt Shaw have? 5, maybe? 4?
I don't know.
Something like that. Not as much as Bellinger. How high is Bellinger's average? Oh, it's just, he's batting 281. 58 RBIs, 9 stolen bases, 60 runs scored. Absolutely playing wizardry defense with 19 bombs. I've been saying this because at some point in time, this lineup was going to get cold, right? Kyle Tucker was not going to be able to keep up what he was doing. He's going to have every player has their spell to where they get cold, right? Bellinger was pretty average or below average to begin the season, but he's red hot right now. And you could use that red hot bat right now. See, what they should have done with Bellinger, like I've been saying, and I'll repeat it again, that Bellinger could have played first base. Bush would have played third for a season.
Is he able to play third?
He came up in the Dodgers system as a third baseman.
Okay.
Or as a middle infielder as well, second or third. But Matt Shaw is a second baseman. He came up in the system as a second baseman, and they put him at third. So I'm pretty sure Bush would have been able to adjust. But that's neither here nor there. You still would have had Bellinger in that lineup. So it would have went Bush to start because say Bellinger is playing with the Cubs right now, and then we talk about the lineup the way it's been looking the past few games. So you would have had Bush at first, Bush batting first, Kyle Tucker second, Bellinger third, Seiya Suzuki fourth, PCA fifth. You could swap them two if you wanted.
Yeah, I feel like PCA and Seiya could easily flip there.
Yeah, they could flip
either day. PCA could have been fourth.
Then you would have Carson Kelly 6, Nico Horner 7, Dansby Swanson 8, Ian Happ 9. Switch hitter.
I mean, that's not a bad lineup at all when you look at it. It easily beats the Brewers lineup. When you look at the Brewers lineup right now, this is definitely a point of contention for a lot of Brewers fans. Still having William Contreras at the top of the order is definitely raising some eyebrows among our fan base. He was good last night. He had 2 base hits, but besides that, he's been on the struggle bus as of late. He really did not play well, at least at the plate against Miami. He really struggled. He went 1 for 12 in that series, and it just hasn't been his best year. He's playing hurt. He has a broken middle finger that he's been playing through all season. Going to get surgery on it after the year. Get ready for next year, hopefully, but the team has said that they're not going to put him on IL or the injured list unless he is going to have that surgery, and he has no interest in doing so as of right now. The Brewers actually made a trade yesterday for another catcher, Danny Jansen, as well. So we could see him get some more off days here and there, which I think would be good for him. But overall, this Cubs lineup just bodies the Brewers lineup, if you think about it. On paper, at least, the Brewers are relying on a lot of rookies: Caleb Durbin, Isaac Collins, Joey Ortiz, a young guy who's really struggling this year. Now, Isaac Collins especially has been a great surprise this year, batting around 275-ish, somewhere in there. Churrio's around 270. Yelich is around 255, 260, somewhere in there. But the Cubs lineup on paper is so much better than the Brewers, but the Brewers play such a unique brand of baseball, and that comment about them being tough, they play really old school ball. They run hard on the base paths. They take extra bases. They steal a lot. Does it not always work out? Yeah, every once in a while they fail because of it, and you have one of those "what the heck are you doing" moments, but they're a gritty team and they play really hard.
Oh yeah, 1,000%. I mean, that's just who they are. I mean, the Brewers aren't going to beat you a lot with the long ball. If they beat you with the long ball, then you're just kind of you just well, you can't really say much. But we're going to look at as well. We got a lot to see with that series, especially on Thursday. It'd be something to see because the series will be over and we'd have a lot more to talk about, more depth and more things to talk about for the Brewers. But I want to
Our conversation by Thursday could be completely different as well. Right now, we're
yeah.
talking about how the Brewers kind of out-hearted the Cubs a little bit last night. The Cubs had a good first inning, got some fluky things to go their way with Mizorowski overthrowing it at first base, the pitch hitting the backstop. But the Brewers played hard. They stayed in it. They didn't give up. They got back in it within the third inning. And then after that, it was just Brewers from there. But we could be having a completely different conversation on Thursday, depending on how these two games go.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, this series is not even nowhere near over. I think the Cubs win tonight, and it's going to set up a really decisive game tomorrow. So, uh, be everybody be tuned. We will be having our trade deadline special on Thursday, where we're going to be sitting down reviewing all the trades as they come in. Um, so we're going to all be watching the trade deadline, and we'll be giving you our thoughts and analysis on whoever gets traded, because we're going to have our MLB trade deadline special. I will post the time for it on Instagram. I will try to have it on. I try to put it out there on X, and then I'm gonna also put it on YouTube as a post as well to let everybody know what time it is. It's going to be somewhere around maybe 4-ish, 3:30-ish, so around there, so we can all be sitting around waiting for them to drop, because it's going to happen. It's going to happen within a matter of minutes. So, but Ryan Sandberg has passed us. He has let us. He has left us. Uh, he was battling cancer, and um, I got to meet him at Cubs convention. I don't think I took a picture with him. I never got to take a picture with him, but I met him before. Really, really, really humble guy. I mean, very funny as well. I mean, free spirit, lights up a room whenever he walks in. Um, Never really, I didn't get to see him play at all. But if he was playing, then it probably was back in his career, and I was maybe like 1 years old, so I never got to see him play. But he was a 10-time All-Star, National League MVP, 9-time Gold Glover, 7-time Silver Slugger, home run leader for the NL in 1990. Chicago Cubs retired his number 23, and the Chicago Cubs Hall of Fame, he is in there. He's now in the Baseball Hall of Fame. He was inducted in 2005. One of the greatest Cubs to ever play for one of the best players to ever wear a Cubs uniform. So, um, yeah, he had a career 285 batting average, 68 game WAR. He was a part of that 2000 hit club. He didn't reach 3,000, but he got to 2,000. He had 2,386 hits, and then he also had 282 homers as a career, but he never reached the 300 mark. But he was probably the best Cub to, not the best Cub to put on the uniform. I think that was Ernie Banks, but he was number two for sure. He was definitely number two.
I mean, obviously, it's a terrible loss for whoever. Obviously, condolences to his family, his friends. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing actually. Another 23 legend in Chicago with Jordan and him.
Something about that 23 in Chicago, man. I'm telling you, something
Yeah,
about
but
it.
um, obviously a terrible loss for the Cubs. It's going to be a tough couple of days for the Chicago sports community, I'm sure. I can't really speak a ton on this as a Wisconsin guy, and obviously we weren't alive yet at the time, but yeah, I mean, there's a lot of examples of other 23s. Devin Hester is another great shout for sure as all-time punt returner.
Yeah, he was one of
Just
the
looking at
best.
his Just looking at his stats here really quick. Like you said, lifetime 285 batting average. Just a really great career overall. Had 40 home runs in 1990. He was fourth in MVP voting, multi-time All-Star, pretty quickly inducted into the MLB Hall of Fame as well. So just great man, great player. Condolences to his friends and family.
Yeah, he was something. He was something special for sure. I mean, it hurts
I
a
mean, by
lot.
all accounts that I've seen, he was a great human being as well, which
Yeah,
is another important thing. You said you got to meet him at some point, which is really
yeah.
cool.
Got
And
to meet him at Cubs convention, and because I would like, I'm not gonna say much, but people who know me knows my affiliation with the Chicago Cubs. So, but yeah, I got to meet him in the back. He was something special. I mean, he was every time he talked, people were laughing. Every time somebody was around him, there was a smile on their face. He was just that kind of player. He was that kind of human. He always brought joy into a room. He always brought creativity whenever he was talking with people. He always, his sports knowledge as well. I mean, he wasn't just a baseball player. He liked other sports too, and this was pretty hard. I mean, this definitely hits all Cub fans for sure. Even if you did never see him play, yeah, at some point, you've seen him on TV. If you never met him in person, you've seen him on TV. You've seen him on um, Marquee. You've seen him on Comcast Sportsnet when they had that NBC Chicago, and you've seen him with videos all around. Doing interviews and meet and greets and all that stuff. So it's just that he was just one of the greatest human beings, and um, you know, he would definitely be missed, and he will for sure definitely be missed. So, you got anything last words for Rhino, real quick?
uh, obviously, it's going to be tough for the Cubs community the next few days. Obviously, everyone's going to be going through all the emotions. I'm sure there will be a moving tribute for him when the Cubs return home after this series. I think the Brewers will probably honor him in some way as well. This kind of reminds me a little bit of the Euchre situation that we had in January when he passed away. Just an absolute icon of the club, one of the faces of the organization. So hopefully the Cubs can rebound well from this as well.
Oh yeah, for sure. Oh yeah. So we're gonna jump into our next topic, which is Sunday night football breakdown. They have the schedule for Sunday night football. I know Nazir been trying to get on to review Sunday night football for sure. He's going to be in the comments right now. I think he's working right now. So, um, but yeah, we're going to jump into the Sunday night football schedule breakdown. So, here's the schedule. So, what are the best games that we should be looking at?
I mean, week one jumps right off the page, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Bills versus Ravens, week one. Two of the best teams in the AFC. The front runners for the MVP award last year getting to face off against each other. That's probably going to be one of the games of the year, and it starts off right away. Week six, Lions Chiefs is going to be another fantastic game. Two great teams, two of the best teams in the NFL just going off head to head. And we've seen the Lions hang right with the Chiefs. They've beaten the Chiefs before. They beat the Chiefs a couple of years ago. So that'll be a really fun game. Week 8 is going to be a lot of fun as well, just for the storylines, because Rodgers against Green Bay. It's the first time we're going to see Aaron Rodgers play against his former team where he played so long. Week 11, another really good one. Lions versus Eagles. A rematch, or not even a rematch, just two of the best teams in the NFC going off head to head. I'm not seeing a lot of misses here, Jalen. I think pretty much every game here is going to be good.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, that Week 11 game is the most intriguing to me besides Week 1 because that was supposed to be the NFC Championship game if it wasn't for Jaden Daniels. But but definitely Week 8 that has nothing but storylines behind it. The Packers versus Aaron Rodgers. And the Steelers don't have a bad team. I mean, they may have got rid of George Pickens. They may have gotten rid of George Pickens, but you know there's Nazir in the comments, saying week 10, count your days. Yeah, that's going to be a fantastic matchup too. You know, the
I
Steelers defense is going
the
to be insane.
Steelers and Chargers always give us good matchups.
But the one I least really care about is, I mean, I think there's two games on here that we really don't. I mean, maybe three games that you really probably don't care about. It's going to probably be the Chiefs and Giants. That's not going to be
Yeah, that's going to
something.
be probably a snoozer. That and the Week 5 matchup between the
Yeah,
Bills and Patriots. That's probably going to be another snoozer. But
that's
any
probably
given
about it.
Sunday, anything can happen.
Hey, yeah, for sure. I mean, you never know how the Patriots are going to look, especially with the new coach Brian. Who's that? Who do they got as they coach now?
They got Mike
Mike
Vrabel.
Vrabel. Yep,
Yeah,
Mike
the
Vrabel,
Cowboys got Brian Schottenheimer is his name, I believe.
which is absolutely, I don't know who that is. And you know the Cowboys, you know, they always had some kind of coach that was always like we had some kind of coach that was always known to the game of football or known who he was. So that week 17 matchup might not really matter depending on how both of their seasons is going. I mean, that week 17 matchup could be a snoozer as well, depending on how the Bears look.
I
Um,
mean, I think that game could actually be one of the more interesting ones,
yeah,
specifically based on wild card seeding, because I see the Rams winning the NFC West without too much challenge. Now, for seeding for those two teams, I think those are two of the teams that are going to be right around that 8-9, 9-8, 10-7, maybe 7-10 record. It's going to be really important for both of those teams to be on their A game in that game, because that could be determining the 7 seed in the NFC wildcard race. We don't know what that's going to look like. Obviously, the season hasn't started yet, but that's definitely going to be a game that could potentially have some wild card seeding riding on it. Same with that Week 16 matchup. Now that I'm looking at it too, those are two teams that are probably going to be around that AFC wildcard discussion.
I wanted to say that was going to be a snoozer, but I'm like, no, because the Bengals are going to bounce back this season, and you don't know how the Dolphins are going to look. They have an explosive offense, especially how Tua looks. If Tua looks good, and he can stay out of concussion protocol, you know, the Dolphins are going to always. The Dolphins are going to be there. You know, C.J. Stroud. Oh well, yeah. He just said week 4. That's what Nazir said. Week 14 is also buns. I can't really say that. I can't really
I
say
think
that.
that could be a good game. I don't think Houston's going to win that game, but it can be interesting. They always put up points against Kansas City. They're always shootouts. They're fun games. They just don't always go the way that a lot of us want them.
I think when we talk about Terry, that's the key. Like I don't know if because I can't really say much yet because I need Terry McLaurin to sign it right now. The way he's talking, the way he's acting is that he may not sign with them, and it's crazy. He may not sign that extension, but when he does sign that extension, I think week 13 is going to be a shootout.
Week
You
13, I don't know if Denver has the. I don't know if the Commanders against that Denver defense are going to be able to put up shootout levels of points. I mean,
Bo
that,
Nix, I think he takes a step forward this year.
I'm not saying I disagree with you, but I just don't know if both of those offenses are really geared towards a shootout per se. That Commanders defense looked a lot better towards the end of last year, and obviously the Broncos defense is the Broncos defense.
Well, when I mean shootout, well, yeah, I probably should have changed the words, but it should be a highly and close game. That's what I probably meant.
Oh
But
yeah, I could see a 21-17,
yeah, yeah,
24 to
yeah.
21 in that type of game. I think week 12 actually could be a really fun game. We talked about
Yep.
that Baker Mayfield versus Matthew Stafford debate last week. Should be a really good game. Those are two really good teams, complete teams. That should be really fun as well. There's a lot of great games on here.
Yep. Broncos, baby. Yes, sir. The Broncos, you know. Um, but what about that Cowboys and Dallas? I mean, that Cowboys and Packers game on week 4.
I think a lot of that comes down to how Dallas looks this year, because Dallas looked really good 2 years ago in the regular season and awful last year. They had a lot of really bad showings. Ryan Schottenheimer, obviously first year coach. We don't know how he's going to look. He was the offensive coordinator for them last year, and that'll be tough just because Green Bay at Dallas. Green Bay tends to win at Dallas the majority of the time. They've actually won more playoff games in that building than the Cowboys have, which is kind of funny. But the Cowboys, they probably, even though it was over a year ago at this point, still have a sour taste in their mouth about that wild card game where Green Bay came in and beat the brakes off of them. So there's going to be a point to prove there, I think, for Dak, CD, and all the stars on that Cowboys team. So I think that could be a really good one. And for week one, Nas is obviously a big Lamar guy. So being able to make a statement for the Ravens, yeah, now we got Jalen taking the Bills in that game. Man, that's so hard to predict. I'm assuming just by looking at this, that game's going to be in Buffalo, so it's going to be tougher for Lamar to perform in that game. I don't think it's going to be a blowout by any stretch. I think 2 touchdowns. I think at most a team's going to win by 10, but that's that is what it is. I think Buffalo is probably going to win that game specifically because of home field, but it'll be a really good game to start it off.
He's putting 100. Wow. Anybody gonna match that? That's crazy.
Nas, you're not too far from Potawatomi in Milwaukee. Go to the sports book and lay that down.
Right. I mean, I don't think there was really much to, I mean, you didn't even really need to talk about week 1. I mean, that game already speaks for itself right there. Everybody know that game. Everybody know that's going to probably be, that's the best game on the schedule.
I mean, that's for week 11. I think week 11 could hold, or week 6. I think those 3 immediately jump off the page. But then I think week 15 could also be, depending on how the Cowboys look this year, because they kind of go, one year they look decent, then the next year they look terrible. Then the next year they're decent again, then they look terrible. They had their terrible year last year. They could be good again this year. If they're good, I think the Vikings and Cowboys could be a really fun game to watch.
1,000%, for sure. I'm trying to think about what game we really didn't talk about. Week 7. We didn't really talk about week 7 or week 8.
I mean, I don't know. I don't really see
too much with the Falcons this season.
Like, the Falcons are just kind of an average team in my mind.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think of them as bad because I don't think they're bad. But I also don't think of them as a great team either. They got Bijan, which he's obviously an electrifying talent. Kyle Pitts, if he ever decides to play good football again, Drake London is there. Their defense is fine. It's not great. It's not horrible. It's just they're kind of average. And could they make the wild card? I don't know. Maybe. That could be another one of those games like the Bears game is. They don't really jump off the page to me at all. But we didn't talk about either Falcons game really. But obviously week 8 will be a lot of fun. Packers Steelers, like we said, Aaron Rodgers versus Jordan Love in that game. Probably going to be a lot of emotions for Packers fans going into that. Rodgers, I would say mostly is loved by the fan base, but there's definitely a portion does not like him. Just because
they probably don't like the diva side to where it was.
Yeah, they didn't like the diva side. They don't like the holding out of camp, going down to South America, doing what he does, just being himself. They just don't like his personality as much. So that'll be really fun to watch, specifically for that reason. It'll probably be a close game. If I had to guess, Rodgers is going to turn back the clocks 10 years in that game and have a really good showing. But
that's true. So we're going to jump into our last topic real quick, to which we wanted to break down, which is we got Luka's new body. Luka has been seen on a new Men's Health magazine, to where he's been putting in work in his offseason, to where he's shredded his body and shredded all the fat that he had. And this is looking really scary for the league. I mean, you got a motivated Luka right now, and you're gonna have a healthy LeBron James next season. They just got a center in DeAndre Ayton, even though it's not Anthony Davis by any means, but they got a center that can fill in and play the center role. But yeah,
I mean,
it'd be something to see for sure. I mean, Luka might be great offensively, but I still need to see him defensively. I need to see. He, even with his new body, he still didn't play defense when he was that kind of skinny when he was back in Dallas when he first started coming to the league. Like, I need to see some defense first.
I think you make a lot of good points with his defense. It's like this will obviously help him on the offensive end, assuming he stays skinny, because we saw all through COVID the skinny Jokic photos, the skinny Harden photos. Yeah, it's like this is just peak off-season content. Now, could this give him a boost on offense? When you watch his rookie tape, it's so different to how he plays today. He used athleticism a lot more. Now he relies a lot more on skill and fundamentals, but back then he was able to run and dunk. He didn't do that hardly at all last year. That's just not how he plays anymore. He played a lot slower, almost like Jokic, but 5 inches shorter. But like you said, the defense is going to be the biggest thing because he's not naturally a great defender. He wasn't in Dallas. It cost him the playoffs a couple of times. And then last year, obviously, with the Lakers, he wasn't either. They picked on him all that first round series. They knew what they had to do and they got it done. Minnesota did. And if this helps him, great. But this almost just seems like one of those not off-season content posts where it's like, oh, look at this guy, like Jalen said about Ben Simmons.
Right. So I wanted to. It might be it's getting ready to rain out here. Hopefully it does. We need the rain. But what is this going to mean for the West? And people, and I've seen a comment to where he was like, I think it was a comment when he was on the Yankees broadcast last night, where he was like, "Oh yeah, they all. I'm pretty sure they've seen it." I just don't understand. Why do you need to be motivated? Well, why do you need to be traded to be motivated to be in shape to do what you were supposed to be doing in Dallas? Like I understand now it's starting to make it seem like Dallas knew what the devil they was doing. Obviously, they
I
got super
mean,
flag and got rebounded after that, but it's still a crazy trade. But now we got to look at it. Okay, why did you need to be traded to be motivated to get in shape? That's the key for me. It's like why?
yeah, that's a really good point. I mean, the same thing happened with Kuzma last year with the Bucks. Obviously, not to the same degree. He comes to Milwaukee and kind of forgot how to play meaningful basketball, as he put it. It's like, shouldn't you be playing meaningful basketball the entire time? Even though you're on the Wizards and they're not very good, every game should still mean something. You should have that mentality that you want to go out there and kill and win. I don't understand why some players don't have that. I've had this thought before. It's like there are millions of kids worldwide that would love to be in your position if you're a pro athlete. If you don't take advantage of that and work your absolute tail off to be the best you can be, that too. But if you just don't if you don't give it 110% to do what so many people would kill to have in your position, I just don't get it, man. I really don't.
Yeah, it takes you being traded to actually care about how you look and how you should want to move. I mean, obviously, when he played in Dallas when he first came into the league, he was more slim and he looked like a wizard. I mean, he was absolutely insane. But then as time went on, he looked like he got bigger. He got a little bit slower. Yes, he was putting up 30, 35 points. He was hitting a lot of threes, shooting a lot of jumpers, getting a lot of assists, but he just didn't look like that Luka when he was coming into the league. He looked when Luka came into the game, he looked like he was about to be the second coming of who's a I don't want to say Kobe, but he looked like a second coming of what was a good guy I could say
That's tough. I mean,
because
I don't
the way
think
he was moving.
the Kobe comparison isn't terrible. He just plays so much slower. That's the thing. And especially nowadays, I need to actually see him like use this on the court, use his newfound supposed athleticism. Otherwise, I think Jalen has a point here that the Lakers could be a playing team this year just because the West is so stacked. I mean, if you look at it, there's so many teams that could be in that. I think the Thunder probably have the 1 seed pretty much on lock. But anywhere else in that standings could be it's going to be a bloodbath, is what it is.
This right here is probably going to make me think of a topic for Thursday, possibly. I've started to think about it right now, actually. Um, this is actually very interesting. This is very interesting. But go ahead.
Are you talking about the American food topic?
Yeah, the way he was, because I'm talking thinking about it with athletes. So this will be a very interesting topic to think about. for me to
Yeah, I mean,
think
our
about on
food
Thursday.
has all those preservatives and added fats and all that. The portion sizes are so much bigger. It's that could definitely be an argument here, but that goes back to discipline. You got to stay disciplined in those spots. You got to be eating. I'm sure he probably has a chef that makes food for him. I mean, he makes 200 million over 5 years. I don't see why he wouldn't. But yeah, until we see it on the court, I'm not convinced. That's my thing. Is like with a lot of these guys, like the Ben Simmons offseason tape. You see him drill 1,000 threes in the offseason, comes back and plays the exact same. It doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely wild to me. I mean, it takes getting traded from Dallas for you to actually think about putting in what you should have been doing with Dallas. Like we all get that you're injured. People talk about he's injured. He had a calf strain, and that was last season. He had a calf strain. We're talking about years of how he looked. It's not just last season. And I've seen some people online talking about, oh, he was injured last season, or oh, he was coming off an injury, bro. That was last season. What about all of the 4 to 5 seasons before that? He looked
I
the
mean, the guy
exact
got.
same.
There's no other way to put it. The guy got heavy in his time there, and that wasn't
Right.
because of injury. It was because he just wasn't making good decisions with his body.
Now everybody's gonna talk about, oh, he still put up 30 and MVP numbers, and yeah, that's great offensively. But what is that gonna do for your lateral quickness when you're playing defense? You're gonna be slow. You're not gonna be able to stay in front of nobody.
I
You
mean,
know,
that's a
and
concern with Jokic too, if you think
yep,
about it. He's not a good defender because
no.
he's so slow. I mean, it's great on offense because he has vision that no one else in NBA history at that position has ever had. But he's a defensive liability, and Luka is the exact same way. He's a defensive liability, and on offense, he's so ball dominant, it almost takes away from other players on the floor at times as well.
If you think, and when we talk about Jokic, yes, he doesn't play defense, but in the playoffs, I mean, Jokic at least gets a couple steals. I mean,
He
he
gets a
at least
block here and
contest
there.
shots.
Yeah.
Like
He's
Luca,
not exactly he's not putting up empty stats.
when we looked at Luka Doncic, I was absolutely disgusted when I seen Anthony Edwards or I think it was Jay McDaniels. He just did a crossover and he's by him. I'm like, dude, you're standing statue. You're like a cone. Like, where's the lateral quickness? Oh yeah, he doesn't have any because he can't move.
I mean, like we said, it's going to be this year's the year to prove it to us that he's got a ton of opportunities this year with that Lakers team. There's going to be a ton of spotlight on him. People are going to be watching every single game and scrutinizing him. So he's under a lot of pressure right now to be great.
The
And
biggest pressure. Yeah, he just basically set himself up this way. I'm skinny now. I'm good. I'm back to where I was when I came into the league. I feel more athletic now. Okay, you got to prove it now because now you got
yeah,
a target on your
let's
back.
see it. Let's see it on the floor. If that's the case, let's see it.
That's the key. Everybody's going to be targeting you now. Think about it.
I mean, that's what
Talking about this.
the Timberwolves picked on him the entire series. Jaden McDaniels is not a scorer, but was dropping 20 every other game against the Lakers.
Yeah, that comment's right. His defense will fail more. Even Jokic played better even Jokic had played better than what he's seen from Luka. I agree with that because okay, Jokic is not going to be like Rudy Gobert. He's not going to win Defensive Player of the Year, but he's darn going to stay. He's going to stay in front of his man down there in the post. He ain't he's not easy to move.
I mean, he's a big guy, and it's tougher because he's not facing off against quicker
Like I
guys
was
either.
saying.
Yeah. Luka doesn't do anything on defense. He's like you said, he's a cone. Jokic at least he'll get an occasional steal, and because he's big, he's not facing off against guards. He's not having to guard guards the entire time. Luka is expected to guard someone of a guard or forward stature where they're a lot quicker than a center typically is. Obviously, the centers are slower, and Jokic gets to guard the centers. Luka is expected as a point guard or a small forward to guard a point guard or a small forward. Small forwards and point guards are explosive. They get to the rim and they're shifty, and Luka can't hang with them right now. And unless he gets quicker and improves all that like he says he is, he's going to struggle again defensively this year.
I can agree with that. It's going to be something to see. He's got a lot of pressure on him. And honestly, this is like make or break for him, in my opinion. There ain't no more excuses. I don't want to hear it. You got to the finals. You got dog walk by Tatum. Okay, now get back there. Now there's no excuse. You have LeBron on your team now. You have LeBron James on your team. Not saying that they have the best roster. I'm not going to say that they have the best team in the West because obviously the Thunder clears everybody in the league at this point. But when you look at who they have enough to get to the second round. They have enough to make a run in the playoffs. I'm not saying that they're going to beat the Thunder, but they have a chance with the kind of talent they have to make something interesting. And if they don't even look interesting or appealing, then it's a failure again, and you didn't live up to expectation. And the pressure got to you.
The thing about LeBron fans too is they always find like another scapegoat. It's never LeBron's fault. And Luka is the most obvious one for those Lakers fans. So when you said make or break, I thought that was really interesting actually, because they're going to find someone on that team. They always do. Every LeBron team has had one. Anthony Davis was that guy for the longest time, not being able to play as a center per se. Back with the Cavs, J.R. Smith was one at times. Jackson Hayes was one last year when AD got traded. There's always someone. Taurean Prince was it at one point. Malik Beasley was it another time. There's always a scapegoat on those Lakers teams that isn't LeBron. And the easiest option is to turn to Luka now because he's expected to be a top 3, top 4 player in the entire league. And if he's not performing to that, he's under the biggest microscope in basketball with the Lakers. It's going to be really tough for him. He's got to have the right mentality too. And because all those fans, I think Jalen is fair here when he says that it's the most diabolical fan base because their expectations are just through the roof. It's championship or bust no matter who's on the team. And it's going to be really tough for him if he doesn't have the right mentality this year. Just keep his head in the game.
I think he's going to come into the season with a pretty good mentality. It's just a matter of the NBA season is very surprising every single season. Something happens to where it shifts or changes your expectation or it changes your thought process. Who's to say the Lakers could have a losing record by December? No one's going to it. Could happen.
It's happened before.
They could have a losing record by December, and now it's like, oh, they definitely haven't lived up to expectation. Now what?
So, and that's
the NBA season is always unpredictable.
There's not a lot of excuses that can be made about this team anymore, I don't think. Because the biggest thing with them last year was they had no center. Like the whole Lakers need a center joke. They tried to address it. Mark Williams wasn't able to play for them. Whatever. It happens. But there's no excuse this year. They signed their center. So I think Ayton's going to be their scapegoat, but I don't think he should be. If they struggle this year, it's got to fall on Luka and LeBron. They got to be able to take the criticism. They're the superstars of that team.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And one thing before I get into our ending, DeAndre Ayton is not going to be that centerpiece to where he's going to change your franchise. It's not. We've seen it. He's a good center, yes, but he's not the center that everybody was talking about, that they're talking about. Oh, my God, now they have a center. They don't even have a center. They don't have a center. Well, what's going to happen if DeAndre Ayton doesn't play up to expectation? What's going to happen when DeAndre Ayton does average? Are you still going to very easily?
I talked about that scapegoat thing. It almost makes sense in my head that he's going to be the scapegoat this year. Because like I said, there's always one at least on every Lakers team. Austin Reeves is another candidate for that, obviously, too, just because it's never LeBron's fault, and it's not going to be Luka's fault, I don't think either. But there's always someone on those teams where they're a scapegoat. It's just how it is. On a LeBron team, there's always a scapegoat. Kevin Love was that even at times too for the Cavs, just not quite playing up to what he did in Minnesota. But I could definitely see Ayton being that guy this year, and it's kind of disheartening almost in a way because it just wrecks that player's confidence.
I just hate it because Um, they always talk about Jordan and like, he played against bad. He played against the worst era of basketball, or he played with all stars named Scottie Pippen and all those guys. Scottie Pippen was the best player he played with. That's it. He played with Dennis Rodman. Yes, Dennis Rodman was pretty good. He was really good, actually.
Hall of Famer, probably.
Hall of Famer. But he's played with one guy.
Dennis Rodman wasn't a big offensive piece either.
Nope.
He was all defense. He'd have games where he'd have 2 points and 22 rebounds. He didn't care. That's just what he was.
He played with one guy that was a superstar his whole career. LeBron then played with a whole roster of them. You can make an NBA team out of the amount of superstars that he played with.
I mean, if you think about it, starts with D Wade and Chris Bosh, then goes to Kyrie and Kevin Love. Then, I mean, he was old, but Derrick Rose was technically there for half a season, didn't go how they wanted. Anthony Davis and Luka, that's 6 superstars that he's played with through his career.
That's the NBA team. That's a starting 5, and then you got a 6-man. Come on now, be for real. But that's a whole topic for another day. We got to get into final thoughts. Oh, wait. Last comment. Yeah, he played. I will say this era of basketball is a lot tougher in physicality. Not physicality. I'd say a lot tougher in athletic body wise and how people move. But when you look at the 90s, that was a lot more physical than it is now.
It's just the entire brand of basketball is so much different with the 3-point revolution nowadays. Obviously, the playoffs are a completely different beast with how physical they are, but regular season games, nobody's trying on defense. The scores are 120 to 115 every single game. Scoring 15 points a game back in the day would have gotten you a really good contract. Now that's almost considered average.
And he said they were 9 to 5. So I guess Karl Malone and Gary Payton and apparently, Isaiah Thomas and, Magic Johnson, all of them, they were 9 to 5 workers. But that's a story for another day. That's a topic for another day. We got to get into final thoughts.
Oh, man. Obviously, Brewers Cubs play 2 more times this week, plus 5 more times in August at Wrigley. Those games are going to decide the division. I mean, there's no other way to put it. If the Brewers can take 5 out of those 8, I'd feel really good about their chances. Obviously, deadline is Thursday as well. Eugenio Suarez or Ryan O'Hearn or someone. Just Suarez avoided that injury scare last night, too. That was almost going to keep him in Arizona guaranteed just because no one would want to trade for someone who's a rental and out. But, I mean, just Matt Arnold, if you're listening to this, please get something going. That's all I'm going to say.
My final thought, like I said, baseball is starting to heat up a lot. I'm ready for our trade deadline special. This is the first time I'll actually be able to sit down and watch the deadline with other, with friends and people who love baseball as well. I mean, it's almost like the NBA draft, the NFL draft. We really don't watch the MLB draft a lot because we really don't know who they are. There's a lot of high school kids, but I like the watch alongs for real. I love the watch along. So Thursday we'll be having our MLB draft special. MLB trade deadline special, and I'm excited to see where everybody's going to go. I mean, teams are going to get a lot better. Teams are about to get a lot. It's already started. Teams are about to get a lot better, and Eugenio Suarez, he did very much avoid a scare last night, 1,000%, because he got hit in that hand, and I thought it was over. I thought, yep. But it's still, his value may go down, actually, because he got hit in that hand.
I mean, that would be good for the Brewers because then they don't have to give up nearly as many prospects as they probably would over higher ranked prospects because the farm system is really full in Milwaukee. There's a lot of starting pitching that they can get, or starting caliber pitching that they have in AAA as well that they can get rid of. So they need to make a move. Get a power bat. That's really all I'm asking for. Get a power bat. Because this offense is really good at getting on base, but they don't have a lot of power hitters. And that's where I think this team can really be taken to the next level if they do that.
Cubs need pitching. That's what they need. They need pitching.
If the Brewers and Cubs weren't in the same division, they could benefit each other so much through a trade, but they're never going to do it specifically because they're in the same division.
Ever. So, trade deadline special on Thursday. So subscribe, like, share, and comment. Follow our podcast page on other platforms. Back in the description box below. We have Spotify, Instagram, TikTok. We will be posting reels of this show, polls, and we will get that post up for you about what time our MLB trade deadline special would be. So if you are on the audio side, on the Spotify side, come on over to the YouTube to watch us. And watch us live, video-wise, and interact with us. So with that, this has been Shout Out Sports. We'll see you Thursday morning.